Hello, your boy ManTXD right here, and welcome to another Gwent City video. Today we'll be talking about monsters, and where the monsters at? At the bottom of the ladder, that's where at. No, but seriously though, this is video about why. What's going on with the monster faction that they're having so much trouble? Well, I have a couple theories right here, and a couple suggestions that could actually help. First of all, why are monsters not being represented on high rank ladder? Well, let's go to the neutrals, right? And in my opinion, one of them is the nerf to stem folds. Nerf to stem folds allows Zerg decks to actually proliferate without being punished. So stem fold nerf kind of a factor right there, and shoutouts to Swim for pointing that out. Now, if we go over here and we see First Light, oh my goodness, bro. First Light is it completely kill monsters. And why is that? Well, it kills monsters in a way that there is always a way to thin the deck or a way to fight weather. While controlling monsters rely heavily on weather, usually use silvers or even golds to create weather, but they get easily countered just with one bronze card. We'll get more into this card in a second as well. Another one is Ironmancy. Ironmancy kills monsters in a way that if you're going to play power monsters, they can Ironmancy, and for you to be able to continue being competitive into the same game, you will have to remove Ironmancy from the graveyard, and you will also have to remove whatever other effect they spawn. This way, a glaze won't have any value. But what are the chances of you actually having those double griffins? You know, that is why monsters are being very impacted. Now, if we go back into another faction such as Scoia'tael, let's per se say that deck thinning is not as much of an issue that it is, or is not as much of a factor that it is right now. So let's say that you have a bad situation, a bad hand situation with Scoia'tael. Well, you can do something like this.
We do what must be done.
Okay, now if we go to Northern Realms right now, let's say that you kind of want to do some deck thinning or slash fix your hand. Well, if you want to do so, you want to do something like this.
I told you so, you idiot!
Crush those vermin!
But we're broke as shit peddlers!
Now, on Skellige, the Skellige situation is a little bit harder, and the situations that you might face are kind of different, but if you have a bad hand, you can do something like this.
You stand before the Queen of Skellige.
Mahakam!
Now, let's see what happens to a monster player whenever they have a bad hand. When a monster player has a bad hand, they can do something like this. Now, remember that example that I gave you guys? Some of you will be, well, why would I be running so many monsters? That was just an example for me to show you a bad hand. Why? What can I do to fix a bad hand with monsters? The reality of it is that nothing. The reality of it is that I can come up with a strategy with monsters, and if I do not have the cards, because remember, this is a trading card game and there is some factor of RNG, and sometimes you won't have the strategy, while the other factions make up by coming back and redrawing or thinning their deck or swarming. Monsters cannot do that. You're stuck with what you have, and that is the consequences. The other point, Monster Faction. Monster Faction is actually kind of in the limbo right now. A lot of players don't really like it, and that's because it's the RNG factor, and not just because of that. It doesn't push for control. The Monster Faction as a whole, right? It kind of looks really cool and really powerful and everything, but they kind of don't have synergy together. And you might be like, Manti, well, why not? Well, I'll tell you why. If you're going to run power monsters, then you're very limited about controlling because you mainly control with weather. Weather goes on both sides of the row, so then there is no synergy. On the other hand, if you want to run River Scouts with Redinian Elites, you can do that. If you want to do it with Blow Mounted Commando, you can do that. Scoia'tael, if you want to run Dwarves and you have Elven Mercenaries, well, you still can do that. It works fine. Skellige right here is once again, it's a very finite spot, but they're still being competitive. So guys, let me ask you something. What do you think should be done for monsters to become competitive? Let me know in the comment section. My name is MantiXD, and thank you for watching. See you guys next time.